up, everybody? It's Anthony from #BeTheChange. I don't know what happened. I hit my picture, and all of a sudden, it just cut out the video. It happens. It happens. I don't know why or how. Welcome to a special Kaecey and Anthony edition. Truth will set free. And I got a bonus if you guys stick around after about 10, 15, maybe even sooner. We're going to put the phone number up, and we're actually going to take call-ins on this episode. So stick around. There's going to be a call-in number for you to put on the bottom of the screen. We'll check in with what's going on. We know we're going to talk about the Twitter poll. We're going to talk about the Twitter files. And a lot of you guys we'll talk about the border, of course. That's what I spent the morning talking on the radio on. We're also going to talk about the $1.7 trillion Democrat spending bill that was dropped on the congressional leaders' laps late last night that they're going to be voting on tomorrow. We're going to talk all about these things. We're going to answer some questions. So make sure you stick around because we're going to go and put the phone number up in the chat. Real quick, we'll start out with obviously taking care of some very quick housekeeping. What's going on, Aaron? Missy, glad you made a show. Faith, Marla, some of my favorite people have been here for a long time. We'll give you an update on Cash 2 pretty soon as well. To give you an idea of what we got going on, make sure, I'm going to put this on the bottom of the screen, Great American Syndicate. You can go to the Great American Summit or syndicate.com. June 2nd and 3rd is a big go. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just starting to line up. The speakers been working a lot with Barb and Dave, who are not here tonight. It's the holidays. They're going to be taking a little time to themselves as they deserve, as a lot of us do. As you guys see, we missed last week and we'll probably miss next week as well. It's holiday season. Enjoy your time with your families. Politics can wait, but people cannot. So make sure you check that out. Great American Syndicate. We still have heavily discounted tickets for that event on June 2nd and 3rd. And if you are interested in being a sponsor, hit your boy up. We do need some great sponsors to fill that event. We probably got about $250,000. We got to make sure to fill so that we can give the rest to charities. Second, I'm shocked. I literally just looked at the sales that we have had. Not Monet's. Monet's awesome as well. But the Dr. Artist show right here sold over $2,500 worth of their products, which means you guys are buying them, which is awesome. So go to BFD at checkout. Go to thedrartistshow.com. I just got back from Vegas. I did get sick for about a day and a half after Vegas and Tahoe, during Vegas and Tahoe. Kelly did not take the Doc's Viral Defense or the vitamin C like I did. I stayed healthy until I was waiting on her hand and foot. And even with all of that, I was only sick for a day and a half. So kept me safe. Everybody in Vegas practically died. I think they died. Actually, I'm going to say it. I think they died. That's pretty much what we're going to go with. We'll talk about some more stuff as we go. Let's see what we got going in the comments. -37. That's called move. Nikki coming in the trip. Parker, it depends on Kelly's schedule, which we'll find out actually in the next couple weeks. But I am down to go to Arizona. That would be a lot of fun. Misty or Nikki, we really got to get on a phone call for God's sakes. And yes, don't forget awakenotwokestore.com. She's the real MVP. Use Awake for 15% off at checkout. Kaecey, what's going on?
I'm just trying to figure out how I can get me put in this spending bill. I want a post office renamed and named after me.
They should name it Taxation is Theft, like the shirt you're wearing.
There you go.
Just from the Awaken Bookstore. Yeah.
Since they're already renaming 25 post offices, why can't they just name one more after me?
Why not? Why not? Feels like the right thing to do, you know?
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Cash, did you get to talk to Cash before he left?
Nope.
Okay. So I talked to him real quick. He was in Oklahoma. Interesting experience in Oklahoma. He said he was tested a few times. It's a little bit more of a racial space is all he could say. He goes, you knew it was a weird place when he went into his room and there was a swastika still on the wall. And he's like, this could get interesting. But him and the guy that he roomed with, they took it down. They were, he said, everybody was pretty cool. It's like the white guys were cool. The Mexican guys were cool. A lot of the black guys were cool. But so it sounds like that their big issue there is there's a lot of theft and bullying going on in the black part of the jail in Oklahoma that he tried getting in between because he doesn't like bullies and he almost got in deep shit. But he didn't. He still got good behavior. He's still good to go. And he is heading somewhere probably as we speak, either Lexington, Kentucky, possibly someplace in Illinois. And that's the word. Well, as soon as we find out, we'll of course let everybody know that as well. God, 32 degrees. Why? You know, Kaecey, have you watched the show 1883 yet?
Yes.
Fantastic, by the way. A little better than the start to 1923. I do like 1923 so far on the first episode. But all I could think of as we're seeing the temperature in Montana right now and all these areas is how the hell, without modern day stuff, did they survive a winter where you're facing 45 degrees under zero, below zero? How did they do that?
How did they do that? They do that like what I do every winter. I get acclimated every fall.
You have a house, bro.
No, I go outside and I'm shoveling with a t-shirt on. Like everybody thinks I'm nuts. You get acclimated to it.
But then after you shovel with the t-shirt, you come back inside.
There's campfires, dude.
Oh,
we're not talking about cavemen that didn't know how to start a fire.
Try to make campfires when it's that cold. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Al. Thank you.
No matter how tough that we think we are bitches compared to the 1880. Like there's just no way. You know what they missed in 1923? By the way, they haven't said. They just said that Tim McGraw's character, he just died. The dad died. Then they explained how that guy was a tough son of a bitch. What was going to take out Tim McGraw?
I don't know. It'd be something weak. And the Tim McGraw thing bothers me, and I got to say this now that you brought it up. Tim McGraw is not pro 2A. He doesn't like guns. And then he plays that role in that show, and it pisses me off. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? But anyways, yeah, no one would have taken him out. They should have carried on that role somewhere into the show, I would think. But
modern day country. He probably heard a Jason Aldean song and died right in a snowdrift. Probably what happened. Speaking of that, so we were just also in NFR. That's another top. Like, it's funny. Tim McGraw, yeah, not pro 2A. Garth Brooks, as we all know, is ultra lib. And what's great about Republicans and conservatives and rodeo folk is they don't care when that song comes on. They sing it like it's nobody's business. Can you imagine if like Luke Bryant, right after having DeSantis and there was a liberal, they would literally melt down, cover their ears, and throw a temper tantrum. That's what they would do if they heard Luke Bryant after bringing the Santa Claus up on stage.
Well, look what's happening with Twitter. Just Elon buying Twitter. Everybody just is freaking out over it. And all he did is just buy it. He didn't really change anything. He just bought it. And you all of a sudden had everybody freaking out.
He did change it. He did change it. So we'll start with Twitter. How about we start with Twitter? He changed a decent, and he has removed people from his platform that were actually doxing him. What are your opinions on that, Kaecey?
I don't like. I think he had a lapse of judgment, and he just made a knee-jerk reaction, which he shouldn't have done. But the part that I do agree with is he let them back. And so he's like, okay, I believe so. I don't know of one that he hasn't allowed back.
The doxing ones? I'm not sure about the one that.
Well, we have to be specific because the doxing, he banned all of the trackers that were tracking people and his plane. Doxing, no. But he let the journalist back that reported on it. The
journalist was one of the doxers. Here's the thing about doxing.
Kind of.
Well, correct. It is kind of, but it's a semantic issue. But fact is, this is the great part about spending $44 billion on a platform is if somebody is threatening your family, you would have to be a real stubborn son of a bitch to not ban them. And then to those people going, that is a public information, which it is if you know how to search for it. They were making it accessible and easy for everyone. That's the problem. And guess what? He owns the platform. So you got to, learn who's in power.
On the bus or off the bus, either way, this bus is moving, right? And when it comes to this whole thing, like the part with him making that knee-jerk reaction, I understand it because I want to say it was his son. He had one of his kids was in a car that was ran off of a road by an Antifa lookalike guy that, what the hell? And supposedly he's a journalist.
Yeah.
Like, no. And so I understand the reaction. I do. But when it comes to this whole thing, is that right? What that guy did? No. What the journalists were doing, they were just trying to push the limits. And he was trying to set the line. And he should have done it in a different way, is all I can think.
Yeah. I mean, what I find super interesting is CNN is now talking about they're considering, because the journalist being removed, They're considering leaving Twitter. How ironic is that? They didn't seem, yeah, see you later. They didn't seem to have an issue when doctors who are going against, who celebrated doctors, might add, Bhattacharya, McCullough, and then scientists like Malone, they didn't seem to have a problem that those voices were removed. But now that one of their own journalists who could be considered guilty of doxing was removed from the platform, they're not sure if they want to stand. I think that to anybody that is still dumb enough to believe CNN is real news, that should tell you enough of the situation. Problem is, I think Twitter is. I think Twitter is going to become so divisive because they need it to be divisive, and I think that it's going to cause the same blowback. People aren't going to trust it anymore, and I think it's because the mainstream media is complicit in their crimes, which is manipulating elections, which is manipulating information for people. And at this point, there's still a bulk of this country that firmly believe that if you don't get the jab, you're a bad person. And I think that we're seeing the fallout of that programming when all Elon's doing is pretty much opening up for free speech.
Well, and the thing that's crazy is when it comes to what he has done with Twitter, all he did was buy it, right? And then release all of this stuff that has been going on.
Yeah.
And this stuff is all started with Hunter Biden's laptop, right?
Right.
And now it's evolving into what? Government and social media colluding to report and silence people's voices. When it comes to all of this that is coming out, why isn't everybody freaking out and being like, YouTube, what's your policy? What back doors do the government have to your system?
I guarantee they have it all. They have it all. And I think that that's the great part about these Twitter files. They're exposing that. And I don't know about you, but my Instagram has had more traction since Elon has bought Twitter than I've ever had. I have videos that get 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 views. I've never had that before. Nothing has changed. Actually, my before Twitter was bought, my viewership was down. And now every so often, the minimum I get is like 1,500. And then that used to be closer to the maximum size. And then there's times where I'll get 10,000 on a random post. And it's like, how about that?
Well, and that's what's interesting. I don't know what's going on with Zuckerberg's empire that he has, but there's something, because Facebook, I still see the same things are still going on.
Yeah.
As we experience on our page. But when it comes to IG, I'm not on it enough to know, but yeah. So I'm not on it enough to know there, but I am seeing it happen on Facebook, but I'm also seeing it freeing up on Twitter, which I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Witnessing it myself, which is crazy. And we'll see what's going to happen with it, but we have to start holding these platforms accountable to treating everybody fairly. We'll have to see what that really results in. I don't know. Hopefully it's not more government regulation. That's the last thing we need.
The funny thing is, it's already been fully regulated by the government. It's just old people with minds that can actually see what's going on with Twitter and believe it. People have to actually believe it. And he used leftist media. He used one guy he used this to try to say, look, this is the truth. Some people still are so cognitively fist effed right in the middle of sand that they can't open their eyes to it. The Twitter, what did I say? Twitter files. Oh no, let's do the Twitter poll talk. But real quick, guys, so you know, if you see on the bottom, we are taking phone calls. If I see one come in, it'll actually come through. We'll be able to hear you. I got it set up on my system. We have not done any phone calls yet. So the phone number is right there, 469-771-8586. That is a specific line just for this show when we do it. It was interesting, and it makes sense that it was a bot farming experiment. Do you think it truly was a bot farming experiment? When he did the poll, how many people want me to step down as CEO? And I love people going, you lost, you need to step down. He didn't say when, dickheads. But do you think that it truly was a bot farming situation, or is he going to stand by his word?
Well, he's going to stand by his word, and it was a bot farming experiment, exactly what you alluded to. He never said when. He did say in Twitter Spaces he will be stepping down from CEO of Tesla and Twitter. But he's got to have somebody to do it. And he never said when.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I do believe it was an experiment to see what's happening, because if you notice his trend of what he's been posting a lot, when it comes to his ideas and the stuff he's talking about, a lot of it is tied to bots and cleaning up the functionality of Twitter. That's what it's been. And so I expect these polls are to do that, are
It-
exactly to do that.
what was interesting is it started off with him at a higher percentage, and then there was a late surge that caused him to lose by a lot. 7% with 17. It's a decent amount. What was also interesting is with that, to me, I think common sense, and I think, the rate of failure. You would think that anybody that wanted Trump to come back on is somebody that wants Elon to stay on. So why are those percentages so far apart? Why is
Right.
that? It didn't make any sense to me.
Well, here's why my theory on it. I think the Trump stuff, that is different. I think that's the surge of people spreading Trump's word. Uh, when we're talking about Elon Musk and the presence of what to do with Elon Musk, I think it's much more split than it is on Donald Trump. Now, when it comes to spreading things around to hate on Elon Musk, is more of a thing than hating on Donald Trump right now. He has replaced Donald Trump from being hated on by the left, but for the taking most of the strength of the left to hate on him instead of Donald Trump now,
Why? What do you think the reason is?
because he has more power than Donald Trump right now. Donald Trump is useless at the moment. He can't do anything other than bark at people and tell them to buy his NFT. Like, that's all he can do.
What the hell are this new that dollar? Is it the gold dollar NFT or the picture of him with the Superman? What the
There are trading cards that are go up in value. It's a new version of cryptocurrency almost. It's just you get a digital picture associated to it.
saw Mike Fallett bought one and it
I
went up
know.
4x in price. Like,
Yes.
what about the dollar? Have you seen those dollar bills going around that are like gold dollars that are something? Are those a real thing? What the hell are those?
I don't know what those are. I've seen them, but I don't really know what those are. But the NFTs are very different. Those are not the same.
That was a hell of a big announcement. Super weird.
It was really stupid.
Such a Trump announcement. Trump announcement. Yeah.
But a lot of what he can do, and I think a lot of this hate is coming and being fueled by the left, because a lot of this is being exposed that the government has their hands into social media. They don't need any more of it coming out. Supposedly, right now with Twitter Files 8, it just started going, and there's a lot coming out of working with the FBI even more. And so that is where I think the hate is being fueled from, is the left fears what else can be exposed by Elon. I I don't understand the agenda, because what are you going to do? Say it's fake? It's done. The transaction's done. So there's no fighting it anymore.
That's insane. If this is accurate, which I'll believe David until I'm proven otherwise.
It is.
4.5 million in 12 hours from NFTs.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Stacey. That is so. NFT is a non-fungible token. So the way that it works is you have the rights to that artwork, which means anytime it's used digitally anywhere, you get royalties off of it.
Yes.
I don't know how many people would. I mean, maybe use him in a Superman. I don't.
It's a big nerd thing. It's not just like I should have bought it just from the financial standpoint, which I know exactly why Mike did it. He was just thinking that way, I'm sure, but
Is there
I
any
just
still
couldn't.
for sale?
Huh?
Is there any still for sale? Or are they
No,
all?
they sold out in like 6 hours.
Jeez.
45,000 of them. And the 45,000 pisses me off. You know why it's 45,000?
Of course, because he's the 45th president.
Get over yourself. Trump, those are the things that piss me off about you. Like, dude, just chill.
Money laundering. See, William, you're always adorable. By the way, William, there is a phone number at the bottom of the screen if you call in about anything. 469-771-8586.
That's really interesting.
That's not how money laundering works. Money laundering is if you're bringing in illegal money and then you spend it and funnel it through someplace else. I don't need to be that. Well, you'll never be a criminal.
Well, and the thing that's funny is the amount of people that bought. If you bought 4,500 or more, by the way, you spend 4,500 or more,
Yeah.
you would get you're guaranteed a lunch with Trump.
Ah.
So, and again, the 45 number. Like,
Now,
it's annoying.
people might be money laundering and actually buy. Yes, they could be buying. Other people could be money laundering
Sure.
through these. Absolutely. And Gary Vee is big into these. There is what? Oh my God, William, you're not smart. Just please give it up. Money laundering works. You are right in that sense. If somebody is buying these, not for the person selling them, because they're receiving money. If you're receiving money, you're not laundering it. I feel like I'm grabbing the nipples of this conversation. They're going to be popular for independent artists too. So there's one guy that worked for like 10 straight years, did a different drawing every day. And this is the most expensive NFT in history. It was like $56 million or something insane or something really high like that. And it's because every single one of the digital items in it is his artwork and could be sold that way. And some big buyer bought it. Trump was doing it.
Dude, Trump needs $4 million.
I mean, he made it. He did. I mean, he received it, and it could be fraudulent bullcrap money. It could be a bullshit NFT. It could be whatever. But that's not the definition of laundering.
$4 million. Do you understand what $4 million is to Donald Trump? Like, dude, he could fart in a bag and sell it on eBay for more than $4 million. God,
I love how dumb he is. Say you have a ton of illegitimate cash. So would you, if you want to money launder, so you have a ton of illegitimate cash, would you make more cash? Do I have to? Okay.
Stacey's onto it. Stacey's onto it. And he did it just to say he did it, but I think he did it also to booster like people talking about him and stuff like that, and it's working. But
because
he didn't do it for money.
Picture is all over the place. I mean, he could have done it for money. It's $4 million. He's still making it, but that's not. I'm just saying that's not the definition of laundering. If you're going to know about white collar criminals, understand how laundering works. Nobody
Breaking Bad. It's called a car wash, and you do it all through a car wash.
Yeah. I think you hired this guy. Who else can raise? So Pelosi is actually considered one of the greatest raisers in the history of our government. I don't know if she could do 4.5 million in 6 hours, but I know she can throw a hell of a drinking party. We could tell that. So
I don't know. Maybe we can ask Paul Pelosi and hit one of his sexcapades and how much money they make. Who knows?
It's still amazing that the stories that have gone away this year. Maybe we'll do one last one around New Year's or something. Maybe we'll do a special edition. But the stories that have gone away real fast was Pelosi getting hammered by a guy.
Literally.
Like that's like where is this guy right now? The story that can't get solved across the country is this Idaho murders, which I'm literally on the edge of my seat trying to figure out what the hell happened there. What happened at Mar-a-Lago? I mean, anybody? Yeah, those are the three big ones off the top of my head that I can't think of.
Well, and it fell on Mar-a-Lago, to touch on that, it fell on its face when the FBI came out and said, oh yeah, it looks like it was just Trump wanting a whole bunch of things just to celebrate him and what he did.
Yeah.
He didn't have any ill intent, but did anybody actually report on that? No, not at all.
Fascinating shit. All right. Again, phone number on the bottom, 469-771-8586. You have stayed up on the Twitter files, and we got just two more topics, really. We're going to talk about the border, which I spent the morning talking on, and then the $1.7 trillion spending bill. And we'll be wrapped up in about 20, 30 minutes. Again, we will take a call if you'd like. What's going on, Monsoon? How you doing, brother? Let's see. Where's Yi? Yeah, Yi has been a little quiet, but who knows what he's doing? The guy, whatever. I'm not going to go there. What else is in the Twitter files that you have seen?
So it's all just receipts. I've been keeping up on it. 7, I'm mostly through. 8 today, I'm not through it all. But all it is it's receipts to come back and say government is working with social media and has full access to your information and is controlling what stays on social media. And it was done through COVID. And who knows what they did? We can assume they silenced posts, they removed things that talked.
There's receipts on that. There's emails showing the algorithm. It's essentially, there's a different name for it than shadow banning. They've actually showed that.
Well, yeah, it was a visibility filtering, VF.
Yeah.
So it's all just receipts. They didn't spend a whole lot of time on what they controlled on the COVID. That's why I was saying it the way I did. Is yeah, there was some stuff that they did silence there, but it's all that. Hey, FBI took millions of dollars. Well, Twitter took millions of dollars from the FBI, and so by the way, why is the FBI funding, giving that much money to Twitter when all of a sudden Department of Defense loses how much money? 66% of its assets or something like that?
Yeah.
Why why are we doing that? Oh, and then the spending bill that we're going to talk about a little bit. The spending bill, like we've had all these months to plan for this and it's coming up right now. We couldn't be talking about it before, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Title 42 also is almost coming to an end. Like there's so many different diversions away from missing money, and now of course, yeah, the spending bill is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. It's when it comes to the Twitter files, like it's nothing to lose, like to get all super excited about. It's just receipts. And so all that is to be like, hey, all of you people on the left that were telling me I'm some crazy Q guy that believes in conspiracy theories. Oh no, here's the receipts. Can I get an apology? A public apology. Because if I would have said anything about LGBTQZ5A, whatever, I would have had to do that by now.
Yeah. Then, of course, there is also the receipts and the evidence showing that there were payoffs from the federal government to Twitter. I believe Twitter employees. Is that correct? To make sure that certain things were silenced.
Employees and contractors. Yes.
Contractors. I
Yes.
want to be very careful about that. Interesting.
Yeah. And for some reason, the FBI also played stupid. Hey, is there someone that we're supposed to be working closer with that understands these things? And the Twitter guy, whoever employee at Twitter replies to the email. Oh yeah, yeah, we know this guy. His name's Jim Baker. Do you happen to know him? Yeah, he just used to work at the FBI. Now is at Twitter to help you with these special tasks. Thanks.
Yeah. Just so you know, Ben William, 469-771-8586. I'd love to have a chat with you. The defense of the left the other time was that it's a private company and can do what it wants. Technically, it really now is an official private company. Before there were shareholders. And also we found out that they were beholden to the government. I would expect somebody in that position, including Elon Musk, that even if he owned a private company that was that in charge of the town square, that they would not be controlled by a government. That sounds something that would happen in Russia.
Well,
so and technically, I don't believe when it comes to free speech issues or when something has become fully our media, I do think that's when the government actually needs to step in and say, we need to have our hands off. So do the company heads. You cannot squash information unless you let people know transparency wise that we're they're squashing information.
Well, and not to mention the CEO of Twitter sat in front of Congress and said, no, we do not shadow ban, which is not a lie because he said, no, we do not shadow ban, but they call it visibility filtering. And so that tells you there were lies going on in court in front of Congress, lied under oath, and there were collusion between the government and social media to filter content to manipulate potentially elections and people to believe more into taking these vaccines and those things.
It's interesting to look at the fact that the people on the left consider Trump to be such a dictator. If he was the dictator of his nation, would he have been able to been removed from an open source, quote unquote, town square? He would not have been able to be removed from Twitter. But fact is, he was removed by these overlords, which it sounds like had a lot of help from the federal government to make sure that his voice was squashed. So for those that think he was an authoritarian dictator, the fact that he was removed from this platform before his presidency was over shows that that's not the way that he ruled this country.
Yeah, correct. And that's another thing that just to mention, like if it's not a big deal, a private company, they could do what they want. Why were they able to move a sitting president when he is still technically in the role of running the country?
And now we're finding out, according to their policies, according to their conversations, he did nothing wrong.
Nothing. So we all knew that. That's not a surprise to any of us. We all knew that. It's just the receipts to go back and be like, I told you so. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I told you so, and also the fact that to me, it's more than an I told you so. It is if this was happening to Twitter, we have to assume, again, it takes logic. It takes a little bit of, well, if it's here, then it's here, and they're doing the same thing here and there. You have to assume that the exact same thing was being done on all social media platforms, which when it comes to having this democracy that the leftist media talks about all the time, aka a constitutional republic. But in terms of the verbiage democracy, if you want democracy, this can't happen. This can't stand. And yes, Trump does a lot wrong, William. Please trust me. I think
Did we say that?
say it all the time, all the time. But he does a hell of a lot less wrong than Joey Basements right now that doesn't even know where he is. You know what's mind boggling to me is watching. We'll go to the border and then we'll end on the $1 trillion spending. So the border, they're showing the clip because there's the news clip going on from ABC interviewing Governor Abbott, where the ABC correspondent is blaming Governor Abbott for the influx of people coming to this country because he keeps saying the border is open, which is reverberating amongst the people in Mexico. Sweet Jesus. So she's essentially blaming him. And then she goes, Biden has never said it. And then, of course, you see the clip from 2019 or early 2020 when Biden is running for president. And first off, totally different man. He was already bad then, but he is sharp as a tack compared to the wall board that we see now, the rusty mallet that is the current president of the United States of America. But he talks about it in 2019, 2020, beginning saying that there will be a path. There will be all these things. We will open the borders for anybody seeking asylum. That is what it means to be an American. And you saw Bernie Sanders kind of put his head down like, that's a little bit extreme. But anyways, do you want to show, what is that clip for? The spending bill, or is that clip for
I was going to pull up. Let me pull up because you were talking about the border and I found it is tied to the spending bill. But it goes over the border. It's so interesting that you bring that up because why would we want to spend money on a border that's racist?
Yeah.
But here we are in the spending bill that they are trying to pass. They're wanting to spend $410 million towards border security for Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tanzania, and Oman. But we can't have a border. We can't establish a stronger security at the border, but we can fund it for other countries. Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. Thanks.
And I'm going to give an unpopular opinion on Title 42, by the way. And we are taking calls. It's 469-771-8586. We'll do it again. Obviously, we're testing it out. So if you want to call in. We'll talk about whatever topic. And if we don't know it, we'll look it up. I think Title 42 does need to come to an end. I don't see, there is no purpose. Title 42 is based on a pandemic. We need to actually have a new title. We need to have a new piece of legislation that actually addresses the massive effery that's going on at the border right now. Title 40, and for people, it's like, this is going to make it even worse. Yeah, it probably will, but God, can it get any worse? You're looking at 10,000 plus people a day crossing either the Rio Grande or somewhere else on the southern border between California, Arizona, and Texas. What is it doing that's any good? They're seeing a lineup of even more people coming. I don't know how long that'll last for, but fact is, Title 42 to me is that whole when everybody's like, this is a distraction. Because Justice Roberts upheld it. We don't know for how long. Biden had until tonight to respond. I don't know that if he had, but it's a fact that Title 42 does not do anything. So I ultimately think Title 42 has to go. But there needs to be emergency sessions put in order. This is actually what's going on. And I can tell you, Kaecey, why do you think that Biden and Kamala have not made their way to the border just yet?
Well, Biden would get lost trying to get there. So I can understand why Biden wouldn't be at the border. He wouldn't know which way is north or south. Kamala, she just doesn't want to end up having to see everybody that she's going to put in jail because of all the bills that she signed and she put in place. So she wants to hide.
I have a perfect reason, and William's comment summarizes it perfectly, because this dumbass doesn't think that there's actually a problem at the border. And maybe it's not his fault. He knows not what he does because he only watches CNN, MSNBC, and mainstream media. If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris goes to the border, the media has to cover it. So as of right now, half the country is in the same hole that William is in, not realizing that there truly is an issue at the border. That is what DeSantis and Abbott were trying to do by sending people to Martha's Vineyard, and they're still sending them to New York City and to Chicago and saying, look, this is just a fraction of what we're getting per day. But yes, the migrant caravan was actually real. And if you're talking about the migrant caravan during the Trump presidency, that's where everybody was freaking out because there was kids in cages and they were holding people. Ultimately, at the time, they were just holding people because they were trying to set a precedent saying you cannot come across this border. And holy shit, it worked. So I think that that's a fascinating thing to look at because people,
Oh, Jesus.
but people like William, well, he is accurate on that one. But somehow they get to Florida. It's called boats.
Well, that's still a border.
And they also travel up that direction. But I can tell you the issue is much worse in Texas and in Arizona than it is in Florida. But DeSantis is part of the humanitarian crisis fix, which is let's show America, including people like William, who again knows not what he says. Because he doesn't know. I mean, how would he know? How would he know if there's not a bit of media that is properly covering the border, except for Fox News, that he thinks is, of course, probably the devil's lettuce.
Yeah, well, how would he know? He's watched our shows enough. I'm not going to give him that ability to claim ignorance. We've talked about it enough. He's been in the comments. He's just always disagreed, so he knows.
Maybe he missed that episode. El Paso's crazy. If anybody saw the Rebel News girl that was there, she did, by the way, a terrible job on on Fox News. No offense to her. She was clearly nervous. Taylor Hanson, our boy last night from Texas, he was also on. He did a great job. But she was so nervous, this poor girl. But she was in El Paso. She's part of Rebel News. She was on Fox News with her report. And El Paso's airport right now is currently full of migrants because they're completely out of space. Their 1,000 person place has 5,000. They're literally checking people in and letting people go. That's all they can do right now. So there is literally a bunch of people with American Red Cross blankets just laying on the floor at the El Paso airport. That is the situation we are in a small town like El Paso.
William, there is a phone number.
There's a phone number right there.
Like if we're ignorant, call in because I'm curious. I want to know more.
You ignorant. Hey, Kaecey, you ignorant. You is just too ignorant to realize that. I apparently don't know what money laundering is, and I think money laundering is making money. Apparently, that's what I think. I think money laundering is making money, and you ignorant. That's just all I gotta say. Now, this is an interesting point. We'll bring it up because it's fair. Yeah, her mom is in Yuma. Says it's not that bad that far. That is a border town, so that's cool. Yuma, I don't know. I could be wrong. There is parts of the
border that's set up.
Yeah, there are parts of the wall that is complete. And again, I'm not going to say it's bad everywhere, but I'm going to tell you that it's worse now than ever. And I can tell you the people that I know in South Texas that are hours from the border, 2 hours from the border, are having their ranches ravaged with thousands of people a month when they used to get a couple trickles.
Right. My thing to touch on the migrant caravan, like it's a never ending caravan right now. You can't say the migrant caravan because it's just a flood of people just walking through like no other. And so I don't know where you would name one caravan versus another.
I think he's talking about the media one in the very beginning I think it was during
the very first big one that came.
That would be my assumption.
The one that was wearing all of the "Let Us In" Biden shirts. Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. But yeah, Yuma does have. I was just looking it up. Yuma, I think, is the city that is getting in trouble from federal government for using shipping containers to finish the border wall. And so the federal government's trying to fine Arizona and charge them with something, or not give them funding because they're using shipping containers to block up the sections in Arizona that are not finished.
I could tell you that a 93-year-old man just died in Yuma trying to cross the border. That happened 23 hours ago, according to local news. Let's see, Doozy, the makeshift wall. Their law enforcement is still saying so more than 6,000 people in a week. So this is not the place with the high. 6,000 is still a lot. Let's be clear.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but that is not 6,000 through a week is compared to the overall border, which right now is somewhere in the neighborhood of 70,000. And Yuma is a point of entry. So it's 70,000 in comparison to 6,000. Maybe this is an area not doing as bad. Maybe their workers are not as overworked, so they're able to actually track them or do something. Who knows? Or this is an area where they've got it figured out nice and good, and they're just driving people the hell out of there before they actually create trouble with civilians. Possible.
There's so many things, but all in all, it doesn't matter. It's the same issue. Too many people coming across the border that are not legal. It needs to be stopped. That's all it is.
That's it, man. So yeah, that's what's going on at the border. Again, I think Title 42 is a steaming pile of garbage that needs to end at this point, because that's admitting there's a pandemic, and I won't admit that anymore. Missy said to check your messenger.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Then we'll end again. The phone number's up there, and it could be positive phone calls. Doesn't have to just be William. Maybe human, maybe it's not. And we like the drama. Anybody? There's so many videos of. Here's what I'm going to say to you, William. Whether I think you're a bad guy, a dumb guy, a smart guy, whatever you want to call yourself, you're being complicit with people. Fact, being raped at the border, children being raped at the border. Below the border, people making trips across where they are dying. These are facts, where ripped underwear, clothing, bloody underwear of children is being found. So if you're complicit in this, and if you think it is less than the number than I do, there is plenty of video footage that this is happening. So even if it is not this 70,000 a week, or what they're looking at potentially 5.1 million in the fiscal year 2023, if you think that's all lies, just know that your lack of attention to it is leading to the death and rape of children. Cool. All right. I think that's fair. Is that in Canada? Or should it be? Interesting. I'm sure it's being silenced on a lot of different levels. So
yeah. Yeah, I think William gets no more attention until he calls the phone number.
Yeah.
So,
I guess. Send the video. Send the video. I always love videos, and maybe I can use them on Instagram or even here. All right. So let's. Do you want to do the? What was the? Want to bring up that Chuck Schumer clip? We'll wrap it up with the spending bill.
How is it in a functional process to drop a 41?
Oh, why is it freezing up? Audie, go ahead and send it. Yes, you can send it to me on Instagram. I'm sure I'll see it on there. What's your Insta? Go ahead and say what your Instagram name is on here, just so I know. Unless it's Audie, then I can of course remember that. Is it freezing up? You want me to play it?
Yeah, you try it. Let me send you the link real quick. But yeah, it's all. This is Chuck Schumer and his specialness.
The shoe. Let's see how it looks. Should be good on mine. Let me share it. Screen number 2. What the hell did I do with that? Chrome tab. Facebook. Okay. All right, ready? Tell me if this is playing.
How is it in a functional process to drop a 4,100-page bill this morning, expect to vote on it tomorrow? Well, most of Congress hasn't had a chance to review this.
Look, the bill has been carefully worked on by the Appropriations Committee for a very, very long time. Most of the provisions of the bill were well known weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. And getting this bill done for the American people, which really matters, is the most important thing. Yes.
Did Democrats miss an opportunity?
Really matters to the American people, yet there's a lot of bills, a lot of talk about Africa, there's talk about other countries, other borders, and not really anything about the United States in some of the extra spending. Oh, and Kaecey, tell everybody about the part about Ukraine and how ironic that this vote comes up this week.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like Ukraine's our best friend, so of course we got to bail them out. We got to give them some money. So we want to give them, what is it, 40? Sorry, I'm scrolling back up to it.
47 or
47 billion? Is that what I said earlier?
43 or 47. Potatoes and potatoes at this point.
A whole lot of money that they don't need to get. And then, yes, I'm getting right to that right now. Why is Zelensky coming to speak to Congress and Joe Biden tomorrow, the day they're trying to make this bill to where we have to vote on it? Not we, Congress. Weird.
I don't think it passes, to be very clear. I mean, the fact that the House is obviously now, I think it's shocking, and this tells you the bullshit that happens in our government. Is this was a what was it? So it has less than 48 hours for people to vote on it. It's $1.7 trillion, and it is 4,155 pages. So if somebody wants to actually have a fair vote and know everything going on in here, they've got their assistants working overtime to read through it. In fact, is you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got to figure out what is worth it in the bill, what is not, and then you know that your voting is going to your future voters are going to depend on it, because the left or the right is going to use your I'm not voting for this, because they're going to go, oh, there's a part of this bill on Ukraine. If you don't vote for it, you don't like Ukraine. There's a part of this bill to help Africa. There's a part of this bill for green renewables. I'm sure. I haven't seen the green renewables part. The other part is accurate. But I'm sure there's something in there that they will be able to use against themselves in the election. That is why these omnibus bills are complete and utter garbage, especially when you have 2 days to look at 4,100 pages.
It is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm reading something that is really pissing me off. The Senate just passed it. $1.6 trillion.
It won't pass the House, though. Like,
how would it not pass the House?
Because the House is Republican controlled.
No, not yet. Not until January 3rd.
They're trying to squeeze it in before. I just thought about that. You're right.
Yeah. I was just pulling up another thing for it, and that's one of the first news things to come up on Google News is U.S. Senate advances a $1.6 trillion funding bill.
What's crazy is, sorry, I forgot about the fact that we're not actually in the next session yet.
No.
But I forgot, or I was even looking at MSN. MSN was tearing this thing apart. Like there's not a single, they're saying how ridiculous this bill is.
The $1.6 trillion government spending bill drew overwhelmingly bipartisan support. No. How? We'll find out here shortly, but what in the world? Why are they passing it now? And I thought it was tomorrow too, but Pelosi did call everybody into Congress tomorrow. So everybody has to come into Congress tomorrow.
Rand Paul is calling it an abomination. It's a Pelosi-Schumer omnibus spending bill.
Well, Rand Paul did that earlier today. I don't know if he actually voted for this or not.
Oops,
that was hours ago that Rand Paul went on his rant, which I'm all in support of. But the part that we need to call out is, why in the hell are we trying to do this at the 11th hour when we've had a year to plan this spending and figure out how we need to fix this long term? I went back to try to find the video I did, because I did a live breaking down all of this at the last spending bill. Why are we doing this all at the last minute? And it's usually to sneak something in. And that's why I wanted to play that clip from Chuck Schumer is, oh, we've already discussed all of this. We've been discussing it for weeks and da-da-da-da. You still have to read every freaking page to make sure someone didn't sneak something in. Absolutely have to.
So Elon just did a thread. Should Congress approve the 1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill? First off, if anybody sees and can see what I voted, I accidentally voted yes. I went way too fucking quick. I've even put on there, I said I meant no. I clicked too fast, and then I looked at Elon's post, and his follow-up post says bots incoming. So I said I meant no. I clicked too fast. Crap, not a bot. So.
Whatever, dude. See, you're the reason why Elon will have to step down from Twitter.
Right?
You voted to have him step down. You are the problem. Damn people in their Macs. What are we going to do with you?
The fact that you're looking at all of these different, here it is, spending bills. Okay, so even in MSN, the 1.7 trillion, 4,100 page Biden spending deal is put on blast as a monstrosity, an absolute stinker. I guess there's still a few things in Alabama they have not named after Richard Shelby, said Senator Mike Lee from Utah.
Oh, Jesus.
There's a lot of name changes in the bill too, which is like, what were you saying, that there are libraries that are being named after people?
They're renaming 25 post offices. I want a post office named after me since it's so important. We need to put it in this bill. We can't even get our budgets aligned, but renaming post offices is important. Okay. What? But Tony, to touch on yours, should have let them shut down. There's a risk with that. Like funding for Medicare and Medicaid ends up in a tight pinch. Paying our military doesn't usually happen in those unless there's some weird exception like we went through last time. So we can't allow it to shut down, and they dangle that in front of us to make anybody just support passing a bill. And we have to stop it. We have to start looking at it and separating the funding for those things do not need to be handled on an annual basis like this, like they keep doing, kicking the can down the road. We got to figure out to separate it.
45 billion for Ukraine. What is the
stupid?
Where am I looking right now? I don't see anything yet saying that it was passed by Senate. Where did you see that?
So Reuters just
Reuters.
It's 1.6 trillion. So there's a change in the bill. Advances 1.6 trillion government funding bill. This article last updated 37 minutes ago.
God, I can't believe nobody's picked up on that yet. The number one article I see is for Reuters is the man behind Trump world's myth of rigged voting machines. Because that sounds like a good top story. I still don't see it.
I put the link to the Reuters in the private chat. What the hell?
What's up?
I'm just trying to get to just give me a link to the bill. That's all I want.
U.S. Senate advances.
So they gutted something, but I guarantee it's not Ukraine money.
What, 0.04 trillion is what they got in? That's not really doing much. What is that for? It's 40 billion?
Yeah.
Sweeping bill, fiscal year raising.
And William, and I'm going to answer your question just because it's a flat no. And the only reason why it's no is because no one's tax returns should be public like that. And it's not because it's Trump.
Okay. So the Senate did not pass the bill.
Then what in the hell are they talking about?
Senate voted 70 to 25 to proceed to debate of the bill, with some Republican senators hoping to offer amendments. So they had, based on the legislative chamber, in the session, if they did not vote to proceed, there would have been no discussion of a bill, and it would have been completely quiet. So it had not been approved by the Senate. They have proceeded to debate the bill, which means there is going to be some long nights for those poor people that are overpaid by insider trading. So
yeah, and honestly, it's on them. If they don't want to spend these nights spending all of this time for the next 24 hours reading this bill before they vote on it in front of the president of Ukraine tomorrow, then they should pass some bills to be able to make it to where you can't actually vote on a bill without reading it. And if it's 4,000 pages, then you need to make sure that you have about 30 days to be able to read the bill. Pass some laws to fix that. But no, our Congress, and this is also calling out all the people we're fans of, right? If they don't want to do this stuff, actually produce bills and get them to go through.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
Where did Trump touch you? So we've got about 5 minutes, a little less than 5 minutes, guys. If there is any other call, if there is anybody that wants to call, again, positive, negative, doesn't matter. We're just here for the to be insane with the Ukraine. Call us at 469-771-8586. Kaecey, did you see? And I want to like him. Sometimes I don't. Insane in the Membrane. What's his name? Alex Stein. Did you see him go onto the stage at AmFest?
During Tim Pool?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated him at first. I really did, because I'm like, how effective are you at this point? But with how much attention he's getting, and he has a new podcast coming out next year he was talking about, I'm ecstatic. I think it's going to be awesome. He got all of this attention for these antics, and he's going to blow people away with his mind on his podcast. Because if you have ever seen him actually have a civil conversation about things in government, he knows everything.
Talk about Alex.
He is a genius. Huh?
Talk about Alex, or who?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he is brilliant, but I don't know. The shtick like what he's done with Barstool Sports, and I'm like, bro, you're gonna get yourself shot.
He is. Well, have you seen his videos when he goes out in front of Antifa and in front of these drag queen events? He did one in Dallas.
Yeah, I
He
know.
went down and walked right up to the guys with the guns. He's like, "Oh, you're big with those guns,"
Yeah.
and just started mocking. I'm like,
He's got
dude, one day you're gonna meet somebody that's just gonna pull that gun on you.
Yeah,
That's what's gonna
I
happen.
can't believe he went up, and this is where I would be hypocritical if I didn't say I thought that was really fucking stupid. Because
Right.
we talked about when he went up on stage at Amfest, I talked about the fact that the guy that stormed the stage with Chris Rock only got a year. Granted, Alex Stein did not have a deadly weapon on him, but he literally stormed the stage. To me, that's somebody that could be arrested. I mean, he's wearing a mask. That's dangerous. So I'm going to go with Ixnay on the new Alex Steine. But I love seeing him speak intelligently because he is brilliant. If you're that quick-witted, great.
Well, give it until you see his podcast. That's what I'm doing is when he aired that and said that, I think it was Tim Pool. I don't know. He was doing a show with somebody else and he talked about his podcast coming up. And by the way, it is on Blaze. But when it comes to what he's doing, I'm like, cool. So hopefully he gets a little spot and then people can see his intelligence. Cause I had no idea. I thought he was just an idiot and just doing funny stuff.
Comedians are the smartest people there are. In all reality, I mean, you have to have an insanely quick wit. That's why a serious actor cannot always be a comedic actor, and that is why most comedic actors are great serious actors. Robin Williams being one of them. I'm actually going to see Chad tomorrow night. I'm going to go see his show in Dallas because we are no longer going to. We're supposed to be going to Ruidoso, but the weather's going to be so bad here that we got to tend to the horses. So, yeah.
Lame. Yeah, Alex Stein, he's hilarious. I like him. We'll see what his podcast turns into or what his show is like, but I think we're gonna see the good side of him that I want to see. I want to see more of that from him.
With a little bit of humor. I mean, he's funny, so like I don't mind that, but I think sometimes it's just so over the top. I'm also a Dave Portnoy fan, so I hate that feud. It drives me nuts, that feud. Dave Portnoy is one of my favorite people.
That's between them. Like, who cares? That's between them.
Or it's a gigantic plan to just keep them both ridiculously relevant.
Could be. Very well could be.
Yeah. Well, we got new calls, but we got it working. So if you next time, maybe we'll do a little New Year's. Well, I got a New Year's Eve.
I think we should plan one for next week and do it to where we recap some of the BS that just disappeared. I think that'd be fun.
Bring your favorite topics that all of a sudden went away this year, like Mar-a-Lago. And we'll talk about it. Let's see what I like the fact that he hates everybody. So let's bring that. You earned another topic there, William. Particularly just because you exposed him because you dislike him.
So
I'm confused. Wouldn't that mean you would like him?
I don't know. Maybe he's one of the FBI guys that got exposed. Who knows?
Or maybe what he's trying to say here is that he was hypocritical because he was everything they claimed they hated. Again, a little confused by the sentence, but I think the reason is he's saying that Trump was hypocritical. I don't know. Who knows? I gave him credit because he says he doesn't like anybody. Right now, I honestly don't even want to call myself a conservative or Republican because I think everything's hot, steaming.
It's us versus the system. That's exactly it. And everybody that's in office right now need to be removed. Not a single one of them needs to keep their position. I don't care. I like Rand Paul. I somewhat like Mike Lee. Some of them, yeah. But no, everybody. Let's clean house.
And look, I will be honest. I would be an ultra Trumper, balls deep, windows to the wall till the sweat drops down my Trump balls if he wasn't so ultra vaccine and Operation Warp Speed and the fact that he brought Big Pharma in. That to me showed that he is still bought and paid for. And that's why, I mean, is he better than the alternative to me? Obviously, everybody knows that. But that is one of the big issues of why I cannot be a ultra Trump trainer. Trust me, if he is the Republican choice, I will vote for him above anybody else. But I also know that is a terrible situation to be in because they can literally run against Trump instead of actually put their own candidates up. By the way, Did you see that Newsom? Sorry, did you see that Newsom is now anti what's happening at the border, and he's like, Biden needs to get this shit on lock. I'm like, oh, you were trying to be president. You were trying to be the Democrat candidate right now.
He's trying to get attention, and it's not going to work. It's enough people are done with him, but across the country, California still loves him. I don't know how, but whatever. And on Trump, yeah, Trump, he's not perfect. He did a lot of good things. I think that overshadows a lot of the bad things, but I still don't like what he did with bump stocks. There was no evidence to anything other than just a knee-jerk reaction. And when it comes to his tariffs with China, made no sense. Like, it actually do stuff that keeps making effective business moves, like really productive business moves. And those ones I'm not a fan of. They really didn't solve a problem that he thought it was solving. So, and those just come to mind. Those are not all of them, I would say.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. All right.
If you had 24 hours.
All right.
What are you doing?
I don't know. It was making a weird noise on my computer. I had another window open. All right, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
so forgiving of Trump. Okay, whatever, dude.
I just said why I'm not. I don't know what I have to do.
You're such an idiot.
But hey, your last name is Light, so love and light. God bless. Have a great rest of your evening. Any final words, Case?
Just watch your politicians, guys. Watch this bill. I would encourage you to strongly reach out to everybody that represents you in Congress and tell them no spending unless it's on America. That's where we need to stop. This bill only needs to be for America. No other country, nobody else, for us. That is it. And so make sure to reach out to your representatives and get that done.
Heard that. Well said. We'll catch you again on the flip side. Make sure you're following all the pages. We had a great 3-hour, I know it's long, 3-hour interview with Chance Conrado, part of the rodeo world. So make sure if you haven't got a chance, go to Blunt Force Discussion on YouTube. Check that out. I've got another one that I just have to throw it up. I have to figure out where I'm putting it. Probably just Rumble. It's with undercover investigative journalist. Usage is his name. It was a lot of fun to talk to him. I also feel as though that I might, once I put that episode, even if 13 people watch it, there might be a sniper looking for me. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, guys, God bless. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll tell you when the next show is going to be. Make sure you follow Casey's pages, follow mine. Truth will set you free on Instagram. You'll see me put random videos up. Make sure, guys, go to greatamericansummit.com. Get those tickets now while they're cheaper. By the time the event happens, they will be almost $200 a ticket. Right now, they're still well under $100, and there's buy two, and there's room for sponsorship. It's going to be a really baddie. It's going to be a baddie. It's going to be a badass event, guys. So hopefully I'll see you there. God bless. Have a great rest of your evening.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, we'll see you before New Year's. Merry Christmas.